Hey everybody, Fishman here. Welcome to another video. My latest poll came about because of a question, and that question was from Susie of Q Aquatics. She has a lovely channel, by the way. Definitely go check it out if you haven't done so already. I'll leave a link below to it and pop over and say hi. Her question was, is there a way that she can prevent her household drains from getting plugged up from this kind of general aquarium maintenance? Now, there are over, I think it was 162 respondents at the time of this video, and 96% in favor of it. So I think this is kind of a problem that a lot of people are having issues with. So here we go. I'm going to start off first by going through my general maintenance routine here of doing a water change and also getting rid of that little extra bit of mulm that can accumulate in the bottom of the aquarium. And then I'm going to get into what I think is at the root of why your drains are plugging up. So as you can see here, it's easy for me just to turn down the elbows, and there's a sponge in each of those intakes. So nothing but pure water is going down my drain, and that's not going to have any issues, obviously, plugging anything up. And there are lots of ways of you using just a general siphon to get the same sort of approach. You can either put a sponge over it, or you can use a net and put it inside that. There's lots of ways of just preventing little bits and pieces of plant matter and, well, more important things like fish and shrimp and snails and that sort of stuff from going down your drains. I've never had an issue personally with organic matter like that, like just plain mulm or that sort of stuff going down a drain. I don't normally do it myself personally right now, mostly because I have uses for a lot of that mulm, and I just don't believe in throwing it away. If you have a garden or even just a lawn, it is a great place to pour all that water, or household plants. It is wonderful for all that. There's just no point, of course, in just chucking it away. So that's how easy it is for me to do a water change. It's 3 tanks in a minute and a half, and then I just top them back up. Now you're going to see in this particular tank here, right underneath the Java moss, there is an accumulation of mulm. I don't mind mulm. I think I did a video on that a little while ago. It has a lot of benefits, but when it builds up a little too much, you'll see in a second, an easy way of dealing with that. That doesn't actually involve having to, take extra water out. Now, those of you who have gravel, obviously that mulm is going to get down in the gravel, and then you have to do a gravel vacuum. I'll get to that also in a few minutes. All right, the main reason I think, or in my experience at least anyway, that you are getting drain issues is from probably 2 specific types of substrates. Large river rock style pebbles like you see in these planters here aren't going to cause any problems with your drains. You're not going to suck them up because they're quite large. But if you have sand, now sand is a different story. Now, I'm not talking just silicate sands, but I'm also talking about crushed coral sands, that sort of fine material. A lot of people seem to like the look of it. I don't use it in any of my aquariums anymore. I did have one a little while ago with some shell dwellers, and it's lovely to look at, but you have to take a lot of extra care. And I'll get to that in a few minutes. There's a way that you can prevent that from being a problem. But if you just avoid a lot of those fine, there's a number of them. I don't really want to start naming products, but there's a lot of plant products, gravels or whatever you want to call them, gross substrates that have a lot of clay in them, and that is also another thing that can easily sediment out as you're doing drains. And as Susie said, it's never near where the actual drain is. It's usually further along the line, and that's because as you get further away from where you're pouring it in, the current slows down and they will sediment out, and that's where it can build up. And oh, by the way, that's how I tend to get rid of my extra mulm. I just have a fine net. Now, I'm only putting it in water here right now because I have a lot of shrimp in that tank, and I just want to make sure I'm not getting rid of any of them. But normally what you can do is, once you net that out like that, you can just flick it into any kind of recycling system you have on your lawn, whatever you want, because it's very easy to dispose of that way. And that's pretty much all I do for this. This is my routine. I'm going to do one more filter clean here in a minute and give you something to watch, I guess, while I'm talking. Anyway, anything that has clay, sand, and or crushed coral. Those are the things that will build up like a fine layer in your piping, where it becomes horizontal and the flow slows down, and that is where you become into issues. Now, the easiest way of getting around that is when you're doing your cleaning of those setups like that. I'm going to clean a filter here because I don't have any of those materials here, but I'll show you the process for eliminating that as a possibility for plugging your drains. So what you're going to do is you're going to do your normal gravel vacuum. You're going to gravel vacuum into a bucket. I mean, believe it or not, this is not going to be a build. There's no reason. I thought about it long and hard, but there's no reason to build anything for this. If you built something to sit in your sink that's going to strain out anything, and anything else for that matter, you still have to deal with the materials that you're filtering out. I mean, I could have built a standpipe that fits in your a drain, and then you can pour it all into that, and then of course, once that all settles down and filters out, you still have to clean the sink, and then that is just more work, and I'm not a big fan of adding work to my work, so it is not something I do. So what I do instead is, once I have all this organic matter in this particular case, but in your case it could have a little bit of sand, clay, or whatever else in it, if you put it into a bucket, and then what you do is you let that bucket sit, it will sediment out. And once you get to the point where you're happy that most of the culprits have settled out into the bottom of the bucket, you can just decant off the top part and then slosh around the slurry bit that's in the bottom and dispose that however you wish. I mean, I just pour it onto my lawn or into my garden, or in the case of this sort of material here, I use it to water my plants, and it's very good for that. It is the easiest way of preventing drain issues. And I know a lot of people like to use pythons and a lot of those automatic systems, and it is very difficult to hook anything up to that is going to prevent that sort of fine sand and or clay from going into your drains, and then of course causing issues. Like I said, I'm not a fan of them. They do tend to waste an awful lot of water as well. And unfortunately, Susie, I can't really think of anything that is going to be something I could make that would make that simpler. It is one of those things that just has to settle out, because unfortunately fine clays and fine powders that come off of some sands, and also of course from other commercial things that you can buy for plants, they will pass through most things, and it is only when they begin to get into a low current environment where they will settle out and then cause your drain issues. Sorry, Susie, that is the best I can come up with. This is my approach. This bucket here, I'm gonna do some more cleaning, and it's going to get filled up with stuff, and then what I'll do is I'll let it settle out for you guys. Normally what I do is I just take this and pour it out into whatever I want to use it for, and then it's done. But if you have that sand, and that's the only way to do it, is let it settle out. Sorry, Susie. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Leave comments and questions and ideas if you have them, and if you have some interesting ones, we'll incorporate them into another video. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and bye for now.